Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, it is cold in Texas. We don't get too many days like this, but when we do, oh man, I guess you still got to get out in it. I've got a bunch of these bigger chunks of crotchwood and stuff from all the unions that were in this big red oak tree. I want to cut these up into some bigger pieces, so next year I can have these going into the big wood stove. I'm going to be running the MS440 and the Stihl, Holtzforma G660 Pro, and cutting these up into some really big, longer lengths, and just doing the splitting with a chainsaw today. Welcome to Man Time. If you're like me, I'm kind of a tuning engine nerd, I guess you could call it. But I was Googling like what I could expect coming out here today on a day like today. Right now it's about 20-25 degrees Fahrenheit. It is very cold. The sun is shining, but that doesn't help much. And also the humidity is very low. I didn't check the barometric pressure, but the whole point of this conversation is I was trying to figure out what kind of tuning I could expect on a day like today versus every other day where it's like 60 and, semi-humid out. So, what I've found so far, and just looking up like air density. So air density, air is more dense in higher pressure, lower sea level, and actually colder temperatures. But what does that actually mean? Well, what I'm finding out here is the saws want more fuel and less air. That's the bottom line there. So I've had to, it was wanting to spin the chain and have a higher RPM at idle, so I richened it up and actually lowered the idle speed down to get it to actually idle. Let's see if it'll restart now that I've got it semi-tuned in and slightly warm. Wow, this is a very interesting situation. I'm both sweating and hot and freezing cold at the same time. There's like certain places I can just feel it. I'm like sweating and then I'm freezing, and oh boy. Yeah, so this is below freezing. About as cold as it gets here. I wouldn't want it any colder. Poor folks up north getting all those snowstorms, blizzards, and negative temperatures. I feel for you. Oh man. All right. Well, I can see why the MS440 is such a popular saw. I mean, it was just tearing through that crotchy, knotty wood, you know. But yeah, this one here is just about 30 inches. It's going to be perfect for throwing in that big wood stove. Some of those other ones were a little bit smaller there. I cut them into about 3-inch, maybe 4-inch by 4-inch chunks, and plan to do the same thing here. Trying to cut this on a splitter, even trying to move it around, it's not possible without a chainsaw. So this is really the perfect tool for the job. Let's try out this G660 Pro and see how it does. Yeah, I went ahead and warmed it up. Yeah, you can tell as the saw gets warmer and warmer, it's heating up the air as it's coming in, or it's already hot, so it changes the tune a little bit. But yeah. Well, that's unfortunate. Needle in a haystack, anyone? Well, it's either one dog or I'm sifting through the mess for a while here. My grandfather was always one who told me to search with my eyes, but in this case, it was the magnet that got the job done. Oh, and both of them are loose. Okay, well that makes sense, because I tightened both of them up really good when I assembled the saw. Luckily enough, the nuts are captured in the back of the chain brake cover here. So, and I'm rounding these heads right over. Yeah, that's not tight enough. They should probably have some Loctite on them. But let's see if we can get through the rest of the day. I will just kind of watch out for it to make sure that nothing else seems to be moving around. Saw's running pretty good though. I'm pretty happy with it, really. For just over 300 bucks, I think it's a pretty good deal. 36-inch bar about to be buried. See if I was quick enough to catch it before it cooled off. I am impressed with this 660 Pro. A lot of that was ripping cuts and bar buried in crotchwood, and these are massive chunks. Like I said, about 4 inch by 4 inch by about 3 foot, and they are heavy. Holy smokes! Yeah, I'm not a small guy, and yeah. But anyways, I think these will dry out in a Texas summer. Some people might have trouble getting these dried out, you know, in one summer season. I don't think I'm going to have that problem. Yeah, I don't know if the camera really does it justice, but these are just huge chunks. Like I was saying there, the YouTube problems, my battery died. I was sitting there talking to a dead camera, I think. But yeah, a lot of these are 4 inch by 4 inch by 36 inch. You can see most of those cuts were just bar buried, ripping. It's nice to have a, you know, not a throwaway saw, but a saw that you really don't care about blowing up, you know, for cuts like that. Running a big ported hot 660 on ripping cuts with a 36 inch bar buried, just cut after cut after cut. I don't know that it could evacuate the heat as good as that one is doing, or if it does blow up, you know, I'm not invested in that saw. So anyways, yeah, huge chunks of wood. I think they'll dry out in a Texas summer season, as long as I keep them drying in the sun. But let's go back to the 440 and do some of these limbs with a traditional cut. Alright, well, next part of this process I think is going to be to try to get this into as a cylindrical of a chunk as I can. I'm on my second tank on both saws, you know, and the big IBC tote's about 3/4 full. So let's see how she'll do here on a cold start. Now, yeah, I'm just going to choke it. My my 2 bolts did end up staying in there, so. Man, I don't want to speak too soon, but this thing seems to really be hitting its stride on its about 4th tank of gas. So if you've got one and you're kind of waiting for it to break in, I think that's kind of where it starts. Seems to be running really good. Chain got slightly dulled, but this is going to be the last cut here, cutting this up into firewood type of pieces. All right, man. That was a full day. 2 full tanks of gas through each of those saws to do this one, this one pile. But I mean, it's knotty burl wood. The splitter isn't going to split it. This is basically your only option. What I'm saying there is this isn't as efficient as just cutting it into rounds and putting it in the splitter, and it's not possible either. But it is what it is. So anyways, I had a great time. I'm sweating and hot and cold at the same time. It's pretty cool. Anyways, you guys get out there, have you some man time too.